So it's been some time since I've done a Bonnie Bailey update video and like a video with me as well. If you've been following my channel and happen to be watching the vlogs that I do, the past several years have been really rough. The past 6 months of this year have been and I'm sorry if I cry, but they have been the hardest of my life. Hold on, sorry, baby. I'm gonna just lower the volume. I have like a serene background going on. It's very peaceful, healing music. Yeah, I feel really grateful to be alive though, you know, but I did a small video, like a 30-minute video the other day, and that was after I came back from the ER because I'm pretty sure I had viral meningitis. Please be careful when you go to a doctor's office or CVS, you know. I know we've moved past COVID and all of that, but she's serious. She just put her paw on my leg. You know, but there's still, you know, different variations of and mutations of different viruses and the flu, and you know, flu season does start, I believe, in October if I'm not mistaken. That's really beautiful. I would give anything to be there right now. Oh my gosh, that is just beautiful. There or on a beach. I know Chicago has a beach. There you go, there's a beach. But it's literally called the Concrete Beach. It's not like a regular beach that's like quiet with water like that, turquoise. I feel like that's kind of what Australia looks like the Great Barrier Reef, whatever. And but yeah, the past 6 months have been really rough, and I did go to the ER because I've had a consistent fever, but it just came to me today. Like I realized today, because like I've said before, I did a heavy metals test with like a homeopathic doctor. You cut parts of your hair, like the back of your hair, and then you send it in for sampling. And he seems, I couldn't follow through with the protocol. I don't have enough money to buy a bunch of like super bougie supplements, and I'd be kind of scared, to be honest, because I don't know if they're FDA regulated, and you don't really know where you're getting these things from. And then also when you're targeted, all your stuff goes through, I think, something else, unfortunately. Or people switch it out, or they tamper with it. I mean, that's happened to my food delivery orders. It's happened to my grocery orders when I did Instacart and Walmart and all that. And I don't blame Walmart. I don't blame DoorDash. It's the drivers that do that. I mean, I don't know, maybe the vendors too. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But recently, just some updates. Those are really pretty flowers. I did have viral meningitis. It was absolutely excruciating. I'm still like overcoming it, but I realized that heavy metal and poisoning, when you think about it, this stuff sits in your gut. It wreaks havoc on your kidneys. It wreaks havoc on your liver. And the reason why I know that I'm having, and I'm not a doctor, but like I worked in healthcare, so like I understand a little bit. I could have studied nursing. I could have gone to PA school. I didn't. I was a chicken shit and a coward when it came to chemistry. It was too hard. But I loved the anatomy parts of it, and A&P and whatnot. And I honestly think if it wasn't for the experiences I had working in a hospital, I probably wouldn't be alive right now. And also just my overall inquisitive nature, you know. I'm very innately curious by default, so like whenever I've had any sort of ailment or issue, I'll never forget like when I had boils underneath my armpits. I learned that I had hidradenitis suppurativa, which is basically like you get these cyst sacs that fill with, it sounds gross, but they fill with pus. It's a chronic disorder. Thank God I haven't had any occurrences lately, because that would be horrible. But I learned that there's certain remedies that you can use to tackle those things. But yeah, I realized today that I go, wait a second, because I have this fever that just won't go away. And I Googled which poisons or which heavy metals cause chronic fever, like your temperature. Because when you think about it, you're not supposed to be ingesting arsenic, mercury, lead, thallium, what else? Cyanide, God forbid. You're not supposed to be ingesting those things, and or aluminum or tin or silver. Those things wreak havoc on your body. And my urine, I'm sorry, this is TMI, but for the people out there who need to know, because, and I'm just going to be very honest. I don't know how many days I have left. I'll be honest, because I'm not trying to sound morbid. A lot of people lately, and I don't know why, maybe it's mind control, and they're trying to brainwash me to think like, oh, you're dying, and sympathy. But I've been seeing so many people walk around me with white flowers, and white flowers are usually indicative of like mourning or grieving or sympathy. It could also mean innocence and purity and rebirth and like resurrection, But I don't take it as that. I take it as like, like, I don't know, just like, oh, we're planning your funeral. And the reason why I say this is because I almost lost consciousness. Like I've never had that happen to me. I've never had vertigo. It didn't feel like vertigo, but my world I started losing consciousness. And I don't know if that's fainting or syncope. In the medical world, it's called syncope. I don't know if it's syncope or syncope, but I went to my kitchen, my tiny kitchen. If you've never seen the kitchen, it looks like this. It's super tiny. Disregard the pee pads. It's very tiny. That's the kitchen. It's just like a wall. They actually remodeled it and stuff, but it's funny because I can't even eat anything really. That's the ironic part. I was doing well for a little bit, and then I started getting really, really bad stomach pains. And then when I did the heavy metals test, it said my aluminum levels or tin were through the roof. So I don't know if people are putting that in my food, in my pizza. I was eating pizza for a good amount of time from a specific vendor. And it's terrifying. And I don't know if people would go as far, like a bunch of CEOs of different grocery stores would do such a thing to tell their manufacturers to put something in my food. But, I don't know, I genuinely don't know what's like, what's going on and stuff like that. I'm sorry if this looks like kind of messy and gross or whatever, but like, I'm gonna try to sit up straight when I say this. Those are pretty flowers. I just need to fix my hair for a second. So, yeah, and the other really scary part is that I'm surprised that I'm not like shaking, to be honest. When I went to the ER recently, here in Chicago, I had a really bad allergic reaction to the saline flush, and I've never had that happen to me in my life. My entire arm was white as a board. Like how I look now, that's because of the color change, because of the LED brightness. But my arm was as white as, like, I looked so pale. It was terrifying. I was in such pain all over. And I do think that was a targeted attempt for me. I do, because I've never been allergic to, and I was scared. I was legitimately scared to go to the ER because, I don't know what other targeted people have gone through in terms of like gang stalking or medical experiences, but from what I understand, okay, Pepper, come on. I'm also scared to feed Bonnie, because if it's in my food, I guarantee you it's in her food too. And I don't even know what I'm going to eat anymore. I really don't. I don't. Because I'm trying to change my diet. I'm trying to be healthier. But, like, you know, because if they can do it in, you know, if they can do it in, I know, River, I put the food out. I put the food out for you. Bonnie's tail's wagging. She's like, please give me food now. And she doesn't realize that I usually have to thaw it out. I give her canned food. I know for the people that are super into like feeding their dog, like, which I used to do years ago, I used to give her like I learned this from a guy in Australia, on YouTube. He has like a rescue farm or something for dogs. And he feeds them like salmon fillets, like Atlantic salmon fillets. I don't know what's on I thought I saw something there. And I used to give her that. I used to give her like a legit salmon fillet, and now it's really sad. Like this whole targeting thing really, really put me like back financially so much. I don't know what's in my eye. I keep wondering like what's in my eye. It's like a weird shadowy thing. So yeah. So yeah, and so she's unfortunately suffered a lot. And yes, I have at one point, because I didn't want to be selfish, and I told myself this dog deserves a better life, you know, like but the thing is she's so attached to me, and I know that if I gave her up and I rehomed her, then they would euthanize her, like 100%. I know that. And anyone who would go with her she would love them. I know that. But the thing is, she gives me so much comfort, and but it's not fair that she has to suffer because of this targeting, gang stalking BS. And I'm sorry if you hear the relaxing music in the background. I had that on during the entire workday because I just needed calm and peace and serenity, and I would give anything to be there right now. Oh my God, look how beautiful that looks. That's a really clear picture. They used to have those plants in Florida a lot in Miami. That looks beautiful. Oh my God, that's beautiful. There's so many beautiful things and landmarks and nature and stuff. Anyways, back to what I was saying. But yeah, I don't know what other people's medical experiences are like from targeting and gang stalking and stuff like that. I'm at the point where I know that I can't even get regular medication because I know it would be tampered with. Like I had a pill, a Benadryl pill, one pill like left over, and I think someone in the previous apartment home I was in, I think someone went in and switched it out, and I had a really bad reaction. I only did like 0.25, I don't know, grams I think of it, or 50 micrograms, I don't know if it's 50 micrograms or whatever, but like that's an antihistamine. And the reason why I took that was because of the ER thing. I had when I say I was in such pain, it was excruciating. It was like human torture, like literally. And I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to tell the nurse like, you know, that really hurt, but my muscle was contracted. My entire arm was stiff. I was in such pain. And then I had these little dots show up all over, and I got a rash all over my body, and I've never had that before in my life. I felt like my heart was being squeezed. It felt eerie. It was very eerie, like when I was there. And I tried to have sympathy for the people that were around me. One girl was vomiting in like a thing, and at one point I felt like I was gonna vomit. And I just tried to focus as best as I could, because this is not my first rodeo with this thing. Unfortunately, I experienced this same phenomenon at another state a few years ago. I saw like a fly. And I'm gonna turn the fan off. I'm really sensitive to the cold. Like I get cold really, really easily. Like I'm pretty sure I have hypothyroidism, and that's the other thing. What's really strange is that not to be too descriptive, my urine is like, your urine, I've learned, should be like close to clear, meaning like that means you're healthy, you have a good amount of electrolytes in your body, you know, and then pale yellow is not bad. And I've never, ever, 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 except when I've taken medications or turmeric or something, like when I've taken ibuprofen, because it has like certain dye colors in it, that's the only time when I've had like urine that's a specific color. And I'm not going to show the picture, but like my urine now is like amberish orange. It's very strange, and that indicates to me dehydration and also liver issues. Because what happens is if you have excess amount of bilirubin in your blood, that also comes out in your pee. So that'll turn your pee like orange-ish. So, and then you get like you can get jaundice, and you get like a yellowish tint. And I remember I looked in the mirror recently and I was like, oh my God, my skin is like yellow. It doesn't look like it now, but it was. So the only thing is that I've been trying to drink fluids, but every single time I drink fluids, it causes like pain in my chest. Like my heart literally squeezes. It's like my heart is getting pulverized. I'm sorry, it keeps changing colors. I should just like I'm just gonna go back. So this whole thing is it's been really hard, and I am like traumatized. I can never go to a hospital ever again, and I don't know how that's gonna work out, because if I ever need a surgery, if I have a kidney stone, if I ever get cancer, like I don't even know what I'm gonna do, because I don't know. Because I feel like I'm not, like I told myself I can't stay overnight at this hospital. And the other weird thing is I sensed these weird chemicals, like in the room that I was placed in, I promise I'm not crazy. I promise I am not crazy. I am sane. I went to school. I have not been diagnosed clinically with any sort of psychosis, acute psychosis, delusional, whatever disorder, schizophrenia. I don't have any of that. I'm very in touch with reality, but I am extremely traumatized, like extremely. But the room I was in, I sensed like, I don't know if it felt like paint thinner or something, and the doctor came in with like this industrial style, like old school COVID type of thing, but completely like not even a duck mask. It was like, you know, he was very nice, I tried to, for like a few seconds, I just said, Ashley, imagine that everything was normal. Imagine you're like in a hospital and everything is normal, and you know, you're talking to a doctor. And I did my best to do that, but you know, I didn't even take the medicine that they offered me because I was too scared that, like, because if you don't know about my other vlogs, when I was living in Indiana, when I went to a grocery store there that I loved very, very dearly, I like fell in love with that grocery store. It was such a good grocery store. It was like the equivalent of Milam's back in Miami, Florida. And what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about the grocery store. I went to buy vitamins, and I bought these vitamins. I was like drawn to these vitamins on a lower shelf. And I told myself, something told me don't buy them, but I wanted to, and I did, and I had the most horrible reaction. I almost died, like nearly, like I couldn't breathe. My stomach went in knots. My hands went like rigid. I don't know what was in that, and then my eyes went blurry. It was bizarre, and I almost lost like consciousness. It was terrifying, to say the least. So I know that so my point is that in targeting world and gang stalking world, people will hurt, like they will go as far as hurting your medications. I've tried to explain this to my family. I have. Like, I have legitimately tried so hard to explain it to friends, family, but if you're not experiencing it, you can't relate to it. When I say I feel so lucky and so blessed to be alive, I'm not kidding. I felt like I've almost died in my sleep. I'll put it that way. I've had like seizures before, I think while sleeping. Like I woke up like gasping for air, not like sleep apnea, like because at one point when I was in Indiana, I think the bathtub that I was in, I was being doused with, it's so horrible. This whole thing is so horrible. And it's so hard to prove. And the only reason why I say this is because my body feels it. And then my parents' case, or my parents' argument for the whole thing is like, it'll show up in your blood work. If there's something wrong, it'll show up in your blood work. And I'm like, yeah, but if you're being targeted, they hide that stuff. You know how easy it is for someone to cover that up and say, hey, can you, or threaten someone? Who knows how many nurses or doctors get threatened? Oh, if you don't do this to her account, which mind you, that's like a HIPAA, that's not even a HIPAA violation, that's a federal offense. That's a federal offense. I have been fortunate on my journey to have had some really good doctors. They weren't associated with hospitals though, I will be honest. White flower. I literally just, the screensaver comes up and it says a white flower. Like bereavement, basically. That's what someone's trying to insinuate. Because I'm pretty sure hackers logged into my TV. So, anyways, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. There was some point that I was gonna make. But yeah, I've had some really good doctors where like they, you know, they were honest, and I think they gave me like these two ladies in Virginia who had their own integrative like holistic practice, and they were like the most truthful. They did a Lyme disease workup, they did an Epstein-Barr, you know, which is mononucleosis, they did that. And what's funny is that that same test was done by a doctor, an older gentleman, at the healthcare center that I was assigned to when I was on Medicaid, and same test. And he said it was negative, but they said it was positive. So I was positive for Epstein-Barr virus, and I was as sick as a dog at one point in Virginia. So my point is that I know, let me tell you something, when your gut tells you something, please listen to that. And this is the frustrating part when I talk about family and this and that, because my family and I, we butt heads about this all the time. We really do. They have a really hard time believing that any of this is happening. They're like, your food's not being tampered with, your water's fine. She's like, you know, they say, oh, so everyone in Chicago's, you know, what do they say? So everyone's doing fine but you. And I go, well, I don't know how that works, Mom, you know, like, I don't know. All I know is that I feel like my insides are being obliterated. I don't even know what my stomach looks like. I feel like my heart gets pulverized on a daily basis because I've looked up the different, and it's sad because I'm not a chemist, I'm not a scientist, and I've become so well versed in the different types of, like, I was not gonna say antidotes, but different types of chemicals and substances. Like there's something called strachicinin. I don't even know how to say it. Strachicinin. I don't know this stuff, but that was one that I've heard about. And then today I saw a spider, a daddy longlegs, crawl across into the bathroom, and I squashed it, which I felt bad because daddy longlegs aren't that scary to me. Cockroaches I don't like, which is la cucaracha, but anyways. And then I later learned that there's something called black widow spider venom. So I think, I don't want to say that I was given venom, or I've been drinking venom sometimes at some point, but I do think I've been ingesting possible neurotoxins, and that is frightening to me. And if you know anything about this, please make it stop. I am like begging you. I am a regular person. I have been thrown into this mess of a situation and I feel trapped. My finances have suffered so greatly. My dating life is like non-existent. I'm so traumatized. I don't trust anybody. And I keep telling myself, how am I going to live through this? Like, how many more years? Like, I honestly don't know how I'm going to live through the rest of the year. Like, if I keep being doused with like lead or arsenic or strychnine, whatever the fuck that is, please, like, unless you're a scientist and you enjoy that stuff, please don't entertain yourself with that, because it's frightening. Because that's what like murderers and stuff do to people. And I'm like someone who's, I don't even understand why anyone would want to do that to me in the first place. So yeah, but that ER experience was terrifying, and I honestly thought that it was going to be like a 2-second thing. And then also when I packed my bag with like a blanket, I packed my bag with like my laptop, because last time I went to an ER when I was in Indiana, I literally was like, I was in such pain, my chest was hurting so much, and I started a new job, and I was like, I need to focus, I cannot be distracted, and I literally did work while I was in the ER, like waiting room and in the patient room, and the nurse like gave me pain medication. Oh my god, this person, I swear to god. They want to like rub the whole white flower thing in my face so much, it's so annoying. Like, that's the latest thing, is that literally people will walk around with white flowers over and over again around me. It's like, I don't want your sympathy, I want you to be proactive. I don't want you to feel sorry for me, I want you to tell me the truth and help me. Because I did not deserve this. I was put in bad health. My health started to suffer the more I started to piece together my situation. It got progressively worse, like the pain, the weakness, the fatigue, the abdominal pain, especially the heart squeezing and stuff like that. Probably when I moved to the Midwest, because when I was in Vermont, I do not remember. I remember like briefly sometimes I had like I had some intolerance to milk on occasion, you know, and then I switched to lactose milk. But I never, and I know the acai that I used to get, it like, because it has citric acid, it burned my tongue a little bit. And there's a poison for that too, apparently. Like, there's something that could literally, it could be corrosive and burn your mouth. Because I was getting like sores on my tongue would get inflamed, the little taste buds would get inflamed. So I told myself, I know, like, maybe I had an allergic reaction to stuff, but I don't recall ever, like, maybe once I ordered Domino's pizza and I felt a little funky, but for the most part, I never had any issue. But I do feel like I'm being slowly, like, killed or murdered. I'm not kidding. Like, I feel like people are like, oh, she doesn't need to be around anymore. We're gonna put her out of, like, you know the Ridgeland Farms beagles? It's just like that. I'm like that, I think. And no one wants to do anything about it. No one's told me anything. Nothing. I have card readings that tell me that there's this gift or this lump sum of money that was supposed to come to me. Not, I don't know from who or from what. But I have yet to hear about that. But I just feel like someone doesn't want me to have that, or someone doesn't want me to know about it. So they want me to suffer and be in turmoil, because I guess maybe then if I had that, maybe then they would think that I won, because maybe they see this like as a contest. I don't know. All I know is that my belly has been so bloated and distended, and it's in such pain. And if you say, oh, what about PCOS? Is it your time of the month? No, this is not period pain. This is like if I was doused with a shit ton of heavy metals, not Henny, not Hennessy, and or maybe steroids, I don't know, and my body is trying to compensate for that. It's terrifying. I don't think it's anything short of terrorism, if I'm being honest. And the scary part is I just bought like these healthy smoothie drinks from CVS because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go on a health kick and I'm gonna try to be healthy because I think my body needs, you know, electrolytes and I need to regain energy. And the expiration date, oddly enough, was 9/11 on both of them, so I'm not drinking those. I take that as a sign and an omen. I don't know what that means, but to me that tells me like terrorism. I'm not an expert on intelligence or anything like that. I've never worked in law enforcement. I will say that I am kind of sad and disappointed, like when I walked into the hospital and I had my bag packed and everything, and it was weird because when I walked by the metal detector, it was like beep, beep, beep. And then I took a step back and I took my sweatshirt off, and I know that they have to be very, very like, but I literally, before I went, I literally removed my pepper, like I had pepper spray and something else, and I have like a pink pepper spray thing, and I put it off to the side, and I just brought my like laptop, I bought some fluids with me, yeah, my blanket, my prayer thingy, like my little rosary thing, and but I literally thought I was gonna die that night. I thought I was gonna die last night, to be honest. Or today's Friday. Because I don't know what I'm eating. If you have any information at all, I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart, like, please, like, and oh my God, to the hacker, leave my TV alone. It goes automatically to the screensaver. I'll wait and I'll show you people what I mean. The latest and the greatest thing that they try to do to annoy me is put white flowers up, meaning like death, funerals, sympathy, which I don't want to see that. I want to see red flowers, I want to see yellow flowers, purple flowers, pink flowers. I don't want to see like, oh, we're so sorry for, you know, what, like sympathy. No. But I know my insides are being destroyed and I don't know what to do about it. All the bottled waters that I've had, I've tried like every bottled water on the planet, I feel like. And all the bottled waters, they all make me like sick. They cause me stomach issues. They give me like heart palpitations. They cause my heart to be squeezed. I mean, it's insane. And this has been going on for months. Because I remember I was in BetterHelp therapy at the time. And even one of the therapists, oddly enough, he mentioned the word poison. You know, he said, free yourself from the poison, or freedom from the poison, or something. And I was like, and he was a good therapist too. He was based out of North Carolina. Anyways, I don't know how long I have. I really don't. And that's terrifying because I've never had to face my own mortality before, and I want to do so much, you know. It's just not fair. Because I feel like people are killing me slowly and hurting my body, and they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about me. And I honestly think too, I really do think that someone planted like viruses or something in my path on purpose. And I don't know who has the ability to do that, but I feel like some group or something did that to me. And cops aren't doing shit about it. I feel like all the cops in Chicago know. I feel like all the firefighter people know, but they're all just, no one's doing anything. No one's telling me shit. So I nearly almost lost my life on Wednesday. And then I have my mom sitting next to me and my dad sitting next to me, and they're just like so nonchalant about it. And I'm like, look at my arm. I'm like, it was pale, and it was so swollen and stiff, and it had little red, like from a rash. And it was, so there's a medical term called blanched, and when something's blanched, that means there's like a lack of circulation, and it gets really white. Any extremity of your finger or whatever, and so I don't know, I don't know what to do, because that means I can't get proper medical care. And if you say, oh, go to Canada, who's to say that it wouldn't happen in Canada? I've bought food that said products from Canada, and I've had the same stuff happen to that food. I bought water from like all different places at a grocery store. Like, I look at the manufacturer, and it's from, there's like different cities. There's like New York, North Carolina, New Jersey, LA, Florida, Canada, Connecticut, Texas, and I'm like, every single one that I try, and I don't know how they're able to do that. Now, some people have mentioned to me energy weapons, and they've said, oh, it could be, if you don't know what that term is, I know it circulates a lot through the targeting community and stuff like that. And I feel like they target me hardcore, like a lot, because I refuse. Not that I refuse to back down. I'm just trying to live my life. Like, I'm not bothering anybody. That's the sad part. I'm not bothering anybody. I can't even enjoy my job. Like, I just got hired at a job, and because I was sick on Friday, I had to take the day off, and I'm so scared of losing that job. And it's a phone job, and so I have to be very like upbeat and peppy and convincing and persuasive, and I'm not really that forward as a person anyways, but it's like I feel so blessed that I even got hired. But it's just like I just wish somebody was like, okay, this is what I mean, exactly what I mean. And if you go, oh, Ashley, you're reading too much into that, they'll show this kind of stuff repetitively, like out and about in public. Like, they'll hold white orchids in front of me, white flowers on purpose, and I know maybe I have to desensitize myself to that, but white usually means like mourning and grieving and stuff, and death or whatever. And the thing is that I don't deserve this. I'm being abused and tortured every day. And I was a healthcare professional. I worked in the hospital setting, and now I'm terrified to ever step foot in a hospital. And it's not like I can go live in a yurt or a hut in Arizona. And I don't want to do that. I don't want, I have human rights. I should be able to live like anybody else. I should be able to, go to the grocery store, buy foods. These people restricted everything from me. And I don't know why. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a liability. I don't feel like a threat to national security. I've wondered to myself, am I being assassinated? I'm not a political dignitary. I'm not a political commentator. I've never murdered anybody. I'm not like a pedophile. I've never hurt a child ever in my life. The only thing I did come to the conclusion is that I think some cult or some group or some fucked up group of individuals, they look at me, and I don't know how this came to be, but I think they look at me as someone told me this actually recently, like it was a few months ago, another targeted person, and he said, you're being sacrificed. And I go, no, that's not true. And he's like, yeah, that's what's going on. You're being sacrificed. He's convinced that he said there's like satanic cults and things like that, satanic high priests, and the thing is, I did my research, and there's the Church of Satan and there's Satanism, and those are two distinct ideologies. The Church of Satan, yeah, those people are like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. But there's also other groups, there's like Scientologists, there's Buddhists, there's Catholics, there's, Catholics hate divination. Christians hate divination. They hate people who they consider it necromancy. They consider that when someone passes away, they say, don't mess with them. Like, don't mess with the people who are in spirit, And I feel like people are trying to expedite my passing and trying to get me to take my life because I'm being tortured. Whether it's electronic harassment, noise harassment, street theater, people who walk by on the street making little comments and remarks about things that are like relative to my life. But I've bought stuff like at grocery stores and I've tried so hard and I'm like, what's okay, like what's safe to get? I don't even know anymore. And it's not like I can grow a garden, you know? It's not like I can grow a hydroponic like tower, and it would take months to do that. And I already was down like 88 pounds, you know? Not that I want like a knight in shining armor to like come whisk me off my feet, but it's like I feel like there's something that people are not telling me, you know? I feel like there's a piece of the puzzle that someone's not telling me, and they want to keep something hidden from me and sacrifice me so that I never have whatever this gift or blessing of abundance. Because when I do my angel readings, it keeps saying achievement, reward, you made it, you found it, releasing difficulty, blessings of abundance. Like it says there's a reward, like literally. And oh, that was another thing, it said trust. So I don't know if there was a trust or if there was a will or a deed to something, but that came out several times in 2 to 3 different readings, whether it's for me or someone else. I do collective readings. If you don't know about that, I do collective spiritual Sunday readings. So I do think that someone or something tried to sacrifice me, and they wanted to take something that belongs to me, and they want to kill me over that. I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it is. I have heard a lot about like inheritances and stuff like that, or assets, you know, and different things. Now it's a succulent. Now they're showing a succulent. That's a little bit better. But I honestly don't know. I don't know. And like right now, I am so thirsty. I'm so thirsty, but I don't even know what water is safe to have. And if you say, oh, buy the water filter, you know, put a water filter in your home, like attach the thing, it has charcoal, it has the little beads. I honestly don't, like if you look it up, cyanide, that charcoal and stuff, filtered, that doesn't do anything for cyanide. Low dose exposure to lead, arsenic, thallium, cyanide, mercury and all that, that wreaks havoc on your nervous system, on your immune system, your gut. Like my gut right now is just totally out of whack. My microbiome, I know, is just totally fucked up. Excuse my language. And it is a shame that I'm in one of the premier cities for medical care, and I can't even get medical care. It's such a dichotomy. So can't do vitamins, can't do medicine. And if you say, oh, you're being over exaggerated, no, I'm a woman. I have my gut feeling. I listen to my intuition. I've survived this long. But I did realize yesterday that I think someone sees me as a sacrifice. Like legit, like the Lamb of God. I think some group of people see me as like, not say like Queen of Peace, but like, or Mary Magdalene, but like the Lamb of God. Like I didn't realize the Lamb of God. Like I've read the Bible very briefly and minimally, like as a kid, so I don't really know too much about it. I grew up Catholic. I did all my sacraments or whatever. But I didn't know the Lamb of God meant that like the lamb was slaughtered, and that's when they put the blood of the lamb on the doors during Passover, so the Spirit of God washed through or swept through the town. I think it was Israel or Jerusalem or whatever, and it like blessed and protected the townspeople. I don't know. I feel like I should know more about Jewish faith and Jewish lore, but I don't. So I am like just genuinely confused, and I've had so many brushes with death. It's insane. And I don't deserve this, you know, I don't deserve this. I treat everyone with the utmost respect, and then when I cry like this, someone puts on whoever the hackers are, they put, oh, what a crybaby. little crybaby koala girl, little elephant wants attention. And if you say, oh, get on a cruise or get on a flight to somewhere, else, like, fly abroad, that's not going to do anything, I promise you. That won't do diddly squat. And the thing is, here's the other thing. These people know. This is how evil and sinister this whole program is. These people know that they can stop, but they don't want to. It's like, it's 1, 2, 3. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Isn't there a song like that by Michael Jackson? 1, 2, 3, easy as do, re, mi, fa, do, re, mi, ABC. 1, 2, 3, you and me, girl. Maybe the ABC people. ABC is usually the acronym or the term for like FBI and federal agents. I wrote to the FBI years ago about everything that I was going through, and I don't even hold any. The person that this all started with, that guy doesn't cross my mind. All the stuff that transpired after that in Miami, like when I moved, there were other people that played a part, that were catalysts to the harassment, the noise harassment, the street theater, the illegal break-ins to my home, poisoning, my dog's water, poisoning my food, rearranging my stuff, turning my cameras, I've had that happen several times. Spraying gases on me, like refrigerants or aerosols to irritate my lungs, or using asphyxiants to make me suffocate. That was horrible. And mind you, I can't prove this stuff. Like I've already told my parents, I can't get a jar, go, oh, let me catch the gases and seal it up and go to the police precinct. Oh, can you sniff this? And they'll be like, this girl's a Looney Tune. But I know what I know. I trust my gut. And this has followed me since 2021. I've been being targeted and gang stalked since 2021. I know a lot of what gets thrown in there is, I don't know what that is. Freemasons get brought up a lot with that. I try to do my own readings to figure out who exactly are the culprits behind it. A lot of people throw in the government and they say, oh, it's the government. I mean, my thing is, who has the ability to have gases at their disposal? Who has the ability to have poisons and chemicals? Unless, like, the only other people I could think of besides military would be like cartels and stuff. That's the only, like gangs and stuff. But like, how would they have access? Unless, like the show Breaking Bad, which I never saw, but like there are people who create their own labs and stuff, like meth labs, heroin labs, weed. I mean, weed is different because weed is legal, in certain states, so that doesn't really count. But like, I'm talking about hardcore illicit, like class whatever, schedule 4, 3 drugs, that can, like fentanyl, where people can overdose, like opioids and stuff, where you need like naloxone. That's another thing that I was experiencing. People were, I think, drugging me with like, God forbid, meth or heroin, and I've never done any of those things because I bought a test online to test myself, and it said that I was positive for like trace amounts of something. So I literally freaked out, and I was like, and I don't know how to get out of it. And I don't want to use people. I don't want to use men. I've reached out to like everyone I possibly could. I've reached out to my classmates. I've reached out to old colleagues of mine, peers that I've had in college, former ballet students that I went to ballet class with at like 10, 11 years old. I reached out to old childhood friends, like my brother's like best friend from like eons ago. I never heard back from him. I reached out to like my brothers. I reached out to exes. I reached out to like exes from like years ago, like when I worked in the hospital, and like, because I was desperate. Like I reached out to everyone, like classmates from high school, and a few of them did believe me, and they felt really sorry for me. Like they were like, some of them suggested like a homeless shelter. I did reach out to like a women's shelter, and I can't even believe I have to like consider that, because I'm 34 and I I don't want to, unfortunately I don't want to be a burden to my parents. you know, and I don't want to live off of, like, you know, their finances, because, you know, they have their life, and I want them, they're in their golden years, right? Like when you're in your 60s or 70s, like that's your time to just enjoy life. And I feel like, you know, I'm sitting here struggling, trying to survive every day. I feel like I'm dying little by little each day. And, you know, I'm in one of the best cities in the world, and I can't even enjoy it. I just never thought I would be in this position. And it has nothing to do with poverty. It has nothing to do with money. It's the egregiousness and the maliciousness behind what's being done to me, and how it's being kept swept under the rug and no one's talking about it. And I've listened to influential leaders and inspiring people who have tried, like, I literally equate this to the concentration camp. I feel like I'm a concentration camp victim. Like, no different. I've had to starve because I'm pretty sure my food was poisoned, and I've been drugged against my own will. Like, women literally, like, this is a thing, women get trafficked. People don't realize this. Like, I've been gassed in Ubers and Lyfts, and I don't want to judge people and go, oh, and it's usually like with a foreign person. Like, it's usually there's a foreign person. I've had women though. I have had women drivers. Some of them were kind and they put the window down, but some of the guys, and they were usually from different countries, like Jordan, Egypt, Libya, Afghanistan. I remember very distinctly. Germany, I think, maybe Turkey. Oh, there was one, Ghana, Nigeria. I had a few people from Nigeria. And I try to be cordial. I try not to judge people because I'm very much into inclusivity and equality. And I like to hear people's stories about, you know, where they grew up and, you know, how they got into Uber and Lyft. But at the same time, I've experienced really, really scary stuff. So I don't know why someone would go to such lengths to do all this and then cover it up. I did, and I told my parents this. I had one, this is the only bit of information that's been conducive to me. There was a gentleman who drove my friend and I when I was in Pennsylvania. She was gracious enough to let me stay with her in her basement because I was petrified. There came a point when I was in Philly and I was experiencing weird noxious gases in my apartment. I had to keep my window open. I had the HVAC technician come and he's like, everything's fine, but I was like freezing. It felt like nitrous gas or something. And so I said, you know, we clicked really well. It seemed like it. And her mom was a former educator and a teacher, and she was very nice to me. They had a different lifestyle and stuff from like how I live and whatnot, but they let me stay in their basement for like a week and a half. She let me get groceries with her, and it was very pleasant. But we went to see the Broadway show Parade when it came out on Broadway with Ben Platt and Michaela Diamond, and it was phenomenal. It was just, that was such a gift to see him in that role, and I feel so lucky that I got to see a Broadway show because I grew up doing like musical theater and stuff. I did it because my brother, you know, was in that world. I was more the ballet person. But yeah, so, but the guy who drove us, he said and my parents are like, you're so gullible. They're like, you believe anything anyone tells you. And I was like, well, he said that he has his own security company, and they're like federally contracted, or the FBI will contract them to drive people here and there, you know, whatnot. And then I looked him up, and he was actually a police officer, and he's the one I told my story to, and he says, you know, you have to be careful because usually when people put spyware like that on your phone, like high-level spyware where they can try to track you in real time and they read your text messages and listen to your phone calls, like more than a wiretap thing, like basically they keep tabs on your whereabouts, that's usually trafficking. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, am I gonna go like in the back of a van? Like they wanna like, and he's like, well, that's the intent, is like to try to single you out and, you know, separate you and isolate you from your family so that, you know, that you're basically at the behest of these people, you know. And then there's certain demands that have to be met and things like that. And if they're not met, then bad things happen, kind of, you know. It didn't really go too much into detail, but like that's the gist of it, you know. And that scared me shitless because I was like, oh, I didn't really think. I was like, that's not what's going on here. This is different. That's not happening to me. That doesn't, like, actually me. No, that doesn't happen to me. I'm sorry, my head is like, I'm super hot right now. Like my head is like, and I woke up this morning and my fever was like completely just down, and now I'm like burning up again. But I'm pretty sure that's not because of the virus thing. That's because of heavy metals or mercury or lead or arsenic or poisons. Awesome stuff. And that scares me because that means my dog, because she drinks the water, she'll experience that. But I pray to God, I go, I'd rather me like go through it than her, because I'm a thinking, functioning human being and I can control myself. And she's a dog, and dog pet insurance costs a lot of money, and vet visits are super expensive. And if they don't treat me right, then I guarantee you, unless they have more favoritism towards her than me, I don't know. You know, maybe they have more empathy for like four-legged creatures. Who knows? But yeah, I'm still very confused. I haven't really posted that much because I did start a new job. The people seem very nice. It's a smaller company. I'm kind of waiting for something to come up and for me to be like, oh, you know. But I don't have a choice. I can't, like, unless I get fired, or unless I pass away before, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't, knock on wood, I hope that doesn't happen. You know, as funny as it sounds, I told myself, I was like, I want to be able to live long enough to April 7th of next year so I can pay my taxes, or so I can have tax money refunded back to me, because I did work a few jobs this year. I had a goal of that. I was like, or I have a goal of that, which sounds really silly and stupid. I also really want to go to Disney World, and yes, I'm 34, but I would love to. I really would love to go to Disney and you know, and just find peace. You know, I told myself today that I would give anything to just feel safe, you know, in someone's arms. For someone to tell me, you're good, you're safe, like, I got you, you know, we're gonna do this together, I'm gonna make, like, I don't care, man or woman, I'm not talking about romantically, I'm talking about like a guardian angel of a person, older, younger, someone who's, you know, capable of navigating stuff like this, because it's violent. This is violence. I know that my water and my beverages are being tampered with, and if you say, Ashley, that's impossible, especially if it's sealed in a grocery store. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if someone's threatening like some crazy threats surrounding me or wealth or money, and if it's like, oh, if you don't comply, if you let her have this, then I'm gonna do this. I don't know. I don't know. But I shouldn't be left to try to solve the pieces of the puzzle. I'm not a PI. I'm not a detective. I'm not CIA. I am not a cop. I actually feel like I got bullied by cops at the ER. And funny, it's, as I was going there, something told me, like, don't go there. My head was pounding, and I was like, I need reprieve, you know. And here's the thing, here's the sucky part. As someone who worked in healthcare and medicine, I told myself, I was like, this is what I would need. I was like, I'd probably need a chest x-ray. I'd probably need, I mean, they did an EKG because I was having heart palpitations and my heart rate was elevated. They wanted to do a lumbar puncture because to rule out meningitis, whether viral or bacterial, you have to do an LP, which is a spinal tap, which is basically the most frightening thing ever. And I used to support kids through that as a child life specialist. They stick a needle in the space between, like, I don't know if it's like L2, L3, L4 or something of your spine, the lumbar part, and they load you up with lidocaine, so they numb your back, and I already had the allergic reaction with the saline flush thing, so I was like, forget about that. And so I skipped out on that, and they put a needle and they extract CSF fluid, and I'm like, if it's viral, I'll just push through it. But I can't even, And I told myself all I need is Motrin or Advil or Aleve or some fever reducer, and I'm good to go. Like, that's it. And I would do vitamin C, I would do echinacea. I know all the resources to do it, but I feel like every single thing that I try to get at the grocery store is like tampered with, and I don't know how and I don't know why. Because that would mean that the vendors and the manufacturers of these items, and if you're like, Ashley, you're talking about like high level stuff. Yeah, I am. Which I never thought I would be in the middle of, because I don't think I'm that important. I don't know what I'm missing. Like, I don't know. There's some things that someone's not telling me. And my health is suffering because of it. I still don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I have cancer. My legs used to hurt so much. I have like skin discoloration, you know. I feel like they tried to trigger some autoimmune disorder, like multiple sclerosis, you know, because your nervous system is so fragile, and if you're so on edge, you know, you can deteriorate the, it's not the synapses, the coating around each nerve cell, and your back too. You get scarring on your back. I can't even sit in the shower with like, you know how people do magnesium baths to like relax with like rose petals and essential oils. I would love to do that, but I don't know what's in my shower water. I've sometimes gotten out of the shower and I felt so depleted of my energy, like completely wiped away of all my energy. Like, I'm hungry right now. I need like a meal, but I have pizza in the thing, and I have toasted ravioli from Aldi, but I don't know, when I went to Aldi when I first got here, I bought a pizza and I nearly almost got sick. And I don't know if my body's rejecting certain foods or if I'm just allergic to things, but like, I look at it as some of it, I do think it's targeting. Like when I was in, I said this before, when I was in Virginia and I went to Shake Shack, and I love Shake Shack. They have the best I have not had ice cream. Oh my god, I haven't had ice cream in so long. I'm sorry for crying, but I was the ice cream queen. I was the ice cream sundae queen. I was the McDonald's hot fudge sundae queen. You know, I loved Cold Stone everything. And these people torture me, and it's not fair. They like try to direct my diet. It's so fucked up. And then the hackers want to make me feel like I'm a freak. The running joke is that I'm Alexis from Schitt's Creek, that I'm like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, because I'm an alien freak girl who survives all the hits and targeting attacks, that I'm like 11 from Stranger Things, but I'm nothing like that. And apparently, like in the last episode, she like sacrifices herself. I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna sacrifice myself for humankind. What the fuck? I want to live a long life. I want to live a long, happy, healthy, prosperous life. I want to meet, you know, eventually when I feel capable enough, a nice man who will not hurt me, you know, who would dare never hurt me. My center. I'm sorry, my TV just like, you know. And the thing is like, for me, I don't treat people horribly. I try to treat everyone with the utmost kindness and respect, and I feel like everybody's being so fucking mean. All the Chicago community people, everyone. And I'm not trying to be a baby, but it's like, it's so mean. And you don't sacrifice somebody. Oh, the Lamb of God, if we sacrifice her, she'll cleanse the earth of, no. That's like energy vampires. Oh, I'm gonna siphon her energy and we're gonna shred her blood and drink her blood, and we're gonna get long lasting. That's the kind of people, I swear to God, that's the kind of stuff that I imagine these people would do. Whoever they are. You know, like cults and stuff. I don't know why, I sense that very heavily. Like there's legit a movie called Mandy, and it's with Nicolas Cage, and his shirt says 144 on it. Let me tell you, it's very scary, and they're like a hippie people, and they're in a cult, and they want to be, this guy thinks he's like God, and he tries to get close to God, and they get high all the time, and they want to recruit this woman who they think is like, you know, they want her to join their little hippie club, and they hold her hostage, and then Nicolas Cage goes looking for her, and then they basically sacrifice her. They put her in a burlap sack, hang her upside down, and burn her. I feel like that's what's going on with me. People want to call me a witch. They want to say that I'm like some siren girl that does spell work, and I don't even know how to do spell work. My stomach, I'm probably very anxious, but my stomach is in knots. And I know when I'm healing, when I sing by myself, you know, on my own, by myself here. So I sing a little bit, but like these days have been really rough, and I feel like I know I need to move, and I don't want to live with anybody, because even though I know that's more economical and cost efficient, but I don't trust anybody. I mean, imagine, like, I stayed with like people in Miami, and there was weird stuff in their houses. I had to sit outside most of the time with Bonnie and keep the patio door open. I mean, I've been through hell, and I feel like these people want to see me 6 feet in the ground, and they've like tried to like literally kill me and put me in like really bad health. And I feel like they kind of lied. Like when I went to the ER, I mean, I know that my liver cannot be doing well. I know that. There's no way that there's no way. Even when I was in Indiana, at least those doctors said, hey, you know, it looks like you may have some elevated liver enzymes. Like, do you know about that? And I go, no, there's something called leaky gut, there's fatty liver disease, gallbladder issues. So she's like, be mindful of that. And I was like, okay, you know. But they didn't mention that to me here. And at least they gave me like pain medicine over there, but somehow things have escalated like 10 times worse, and I feel like I have hits on my life. Like, I'm not kidding. And I go, why do I have hits on my life, and why are people not saying anything? Did I piss someone off? Did I say something wrong? Is there a mistake? Like, I feel like I got put on like the death penalty. Like, I'm not kidding. I feel like people are making decisions and judgments over my life. And I'm like, I don't want to be euthanized. I don't want to be killed. I don't want to, you know, like a high council's like, oh, she should. No, I want to live a normal life. I don't know about having kids, but like, because right now, if I'm going through it, I guarantee you my offspring would go through it 100%. And I don't wish that upon anybody. Because if I have, you know, unique psychic abilities and stuff, I'm sure my son or daughter, possibly it would go to them too. Because some of this targeting stuff, you know, I think is because about spirituality and whatnot. My head right now is pounding. It's so hot. But I know I'm healing from the meningitis because, sorry, I need to sit like a lady. Excuse me. I know I'm healing from the meningitis because my range of motion, fun fact, a distinct thing that could differentiate between like for meningitis and the flu is if you get a stiff neck, and if you can't move your neck side to side or go like this or bring your chin down and stuff like that, that's what indicates, you know, meningitis. And then if you have a rash, that's bacterial. But I didn't want to do a lumbar puncture because there's risk with that. And if I was already allergic to the saline flush thing, then who knows what would have been in the syringe with the lidocaine, and that would be going directly into my back. So to say I'm petrified is an understatement. So if you happen to know anything at all about my situation, or you follow my channel, or you happen to be a lawyer, I don't really know. The only thing I could say maybe that I would get a lawyer for is debt settlement, or like, because of all the trauma and the pain and the moving and the fear of the trafficking and PTSD, or CPTSD, which is complex PTSD. I could possibly maybe have a case, but then you have to pay a retainer fee, and I don't have the money to do that, like, at all. But these are the people doing this. They want to push me to the brink where they want me to take my life, and they want me to quit my job so that I'll get sick and I can't work. That's the point. And if you've never been targeted, if you've never experienced gang stalking, well, welcome to the club. It's not fun at all. And if you have any answers at all, and if you say, well, go to the police, well, sometimes not all police officers are honest and forthright or upright. Some police officers, money talks. You say, hey, can you, if you, make up some lies about this girl, or create, if you help me frame her, make her look like she did this, and this, and I'm going to do a false police report on her, we can go up against her and frame her. I don't know, people do that. There's Teal Swan. Teal Swan went through a bunch of stuff with her husband and her child, and they had to move several times, and they were harassed so much. Her son was harassed at school, her husband. They followed her, they bullied her, they made comments about, it's terrible. So I'm not saying that that's my situation, but the word that comes to mind is heresy or heretics. So I don't know if there's a group of people that are very, very, very staunch, Catholic or certain faith, or and maybe they don't, I don't know whether it's on another continent or in this country, but all I know is that I am being tortured. I am being tortured every day, and my food is somehow, some way, has silver, maybe heavy metal, cyanide, tin, aluminum in it, and I don't know what to do about that. And I have to go to sleep with a fever every night, because it could be arsenic, it could be thallium, cadmium, lead, mercury, cyanide, who knows, strychnine, venom. The venom is the worst one, I'll be honest, and I know when it's venom because my legs will go numb, and it'll feel like little tingly, like wasps, like little bees stinging my leg, and then it'll feel like little shards of glass piercing my chest. And I'm just waiting for an official person or someone to come towards me and say, I got you, I'm gonna take care of you, because that's what I would do. And I haven't heard that from anybody, and I don't want to die here. So if you are one of the good ones, if you're one of the good doctors, if you're one of the honest nurses, if you're one of the good police officers, I beg you, I implore you, and the same thing for the judges and the lawyers, please. I don't have any, I can't do this without people. And the city of Chicago's, there's only so much people can do, And maybe it's too high level, people don't want, because here's the thing, when you help a targeted person, whether it's a family member, a friend, a lover, a job, a coworker, a colleague, a classmate, they end up getting targeted too. 100%. So then their stuff gets hacked, they get followed, they get maybe a price put on their head or something, and they get tracked, surveillanced, bullied, harassed by these horrible people that have no life whatsoever. And yeah. So I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart, if you have any answers whatsoever, please let me know. It was a really pink flower that just showed up. I have the mode set to show all these different flowers, because I do love flowers. So I'm sorry this is not some. I had a guy tell me recently that I matched with him on a dating app, and he's like, your vlogs are so boring. And I'm like, that's exactly the kind of man that I wouldn't want to date, because if he made that comment and he's not even my partner, I want the guy who's gonna say, I maybe can't relate to what you're going through, and I'm going to do my best to try to understand it, but I'm going to be there every step of the way. And if I get targeted too, then I'm going to do it right there with you, and I will never do anything to hurt you. That's the kind of person. And not gaslight me, not trick me, not tell me what I want to hear, but be super honest with me. Because that's, you know, that's a big risk for someone, because that means that the rest of their life at their job they'll be targeted. You know, their friends may bully them, their phone can get hacked, or their computer, or, you know, their food and their water. Everything that happens to me will, you know, translate or trickle down. I'm sorry, there's certain trigger words. Trick or treat, I know. And there's also people too who lie and tell you what you want to hear. Be mindful of that, because there's fake targeted individuals as well. Those are the kind of people who pretend to be targeted, but they're not, and they're planted there on purpose to try to like keep tabs on that person, to keep them in check, like a handler essentially. It's a handler. So I know what I'm saying may sound kind of avant-garde and weird, but that's the truth, folks. And this has been my life for 6 years, and I don't know how to escape the program. I don't know if it's a program. I don't really know what it is at this point. But what I experienced on Wednesday was nothing short of like terrifying. And I don't want to say that that was done on purpose, but like I've never been allergic to a saline flush in my life. And I did sense a weird gas in the waiting room. And I felt like I was being sedated, and I told myself, Ashley, stay awake, stay awake. So please, if you have any resources, if you can help me in any way, I know I'm asking for a lot. I know a lot of people don't want to risk their life like that. But I don't want to say I'm begging, but like, I want to live a long, happy, healthy life. And I don't want to live in a forest in a tree hut, you know. I don't want to live in a yurt in Arizona. I don't want to live in a tent on some campgrounds in Kentucky or Florida. I deserve to live in a home, even if it's just like an efficiency. Not necessarily an apartment building, because I don't do well in apartment buildings, but just if anybody, if you have any resources or something, you know. And I recognize, that the targeted community, unfortunately, it's comprised of people from all walks of life. Some people are legitimately like guilty of stuff. Like I think there are people who are legitimately guilty of like crimes, and they're being targeted because they're a POI, a person of interest, or they're suspected of something. So they get bullied and harassed, and it's meant to mentally degrade someone so that they eventually either become homeless, sick, take their life, what have you. But I've never committed a crime in my life ever, unless you consider littering once. And I got 2 traffic tickets and 1 was dismissed. So if you have anything at all that could help, any information or resources or advice, and please don't just say things to say it, like I'm not saying I'm grasping at straws, but I'm terrified, because a lot of this is, there's no touching involved. It's a lot of psychological warfare. There's no touch torture. It's all poisons, gases, slander, illusions, defamation, street theater, electronic harassment, tech stuff to hurt your body or whatever that I don't really know how it works. Hacking, surveillancing, it's horrible. It's a really, really evil thing. And I still, to this day, I cannot believe what I experienced on Wednesday. I am so heartbroken and traumatized. So, any help would be appreciated. And I'm sorry, this is not like a happy vlog, yay,